Welcome to the First Time Homebuyers podcast. One popular piece of advice given to first-time homebuyers is to marry the house and date the rate. This phrase refers to the idea of putting more emphasis on finding a house that meets your needs for the long term and thinking of the interest rate in shorter or temporary terms. Let's take a closer look at this concept and see what it means for you, the first-time homebuyer. When you're looking for a home, you should focus on finding one that suits your lifestyle and your needs rather than focusing solely on getting a great price. After all, if you find yourself living in a house that doesn't meet your needs, chances are you won't be happy no matter how great of a deal you got. It's important to pick out features like bedrooms, bathrooms, locations, things like that really fits your family size and the amenities, things like your pool or the outdoor space. It's really going to maximize your enjoyment of the property. If you're purchasing a starter home, ensure that it meets your needs now and has the right features to make it attractive to future buyers. The idea of marrying the house is to consider it a long-term commitment. The idea of dating the rate is that it's a short-term temporary commitment. So let's talk about the benefits of dating the rate. Before even shopping for a home, you should have spoken with your lender and discussed your budget. Part of this discussion will be around the interest rate that you qualify for. Interest rates change daily, so keep that in mind. In a higher interest rate market like today, you have a few options to get better rates. You can increase your credit score. You can increase your down payment. You can buy down the rate, which essentially is money you pay in cash that lowers your interest rate. In each case, it's dependent on your circumstances how much this will actually affect your rate. But the idea of dating the rate is simply that you're betting on rates going lower in the future or your credit increasing enough that you can refinance into a better interest rate loan. Nobody knows exactly what interest rates will do, so you're simply betting on them going down or your credit score going up enough that it's going to give you options in the future. If rates never go down, you're still married to the house at whatever rate you originally got when you purchased it. I don't particularly care for this saying, but the idea is solid behind it. You should buy a home for the long term, and the interest rate is something you can change months or maybe even years later. Let's do a quick history lesson on mortgage interest rates for a 30-year fixed loan. In the 70s, rates were in the mid 7% range. They started to increase around 1974 through the end of that decade, where it reached an average of 10.11% by the end of 1978. In 1981, mortgage rates topped out at 18.45% and remained in the double digits for almost the entire decade. By the late 90s, mortgage interest rates dropped below 10%, and they've hovered around 6 to 7% for nearly the last 20 years. We, of course, saw a huge drop in rates in 2020, with December rates at a record low of 2.68%, and most of 2021 with rates in the high 2s and low 3%. In March of 2022, rates began to see rising numbers into the 6 to 7% range. During each high and low, people still bought homes. During the low rates, people refinanced out of high interest rate loans. Like those that bought in the 80s at the peak interest rates, when they refinanced in the 90s, some of them cut their payments nearly in half. That's the idea of dating the rate. The important factor is to ensure that you can afford the payment that you're making. If interest rates never drop, then you're fine. If they do drop, then you're going to be able to save money. At the end of the day, deciding to buy a home is a big decision, one that you should make very carefully. Make sure you're doing your research, choosing a house that's right for you, and when it comes to deciding on an interest rate, don't panic if rates are high. Remember that they can change at any point. You can always take advantage of those rate changes to save money in the future, but it may be years out. So when it comes to dating the rate, just consider that an added bonus to your home purchase. Some loan programs even have streamlined refinance options. Many lenders have options to refinance at low or very low cost to you to help you get into a more affordable loan. So if you'd like to know more, feel free to reach out, but head on over to fthbpros.com, where we have all of our podcast episodes available, articles, a newsletter, resources, along with our Facebook group where lenders and agents can help answer your questions. Thank you for your support and happy home buying.